Hello everybody, I am Technovoid, your host and burrito filled with wet cat food. And with me is Hamster Wings, your favorite Pokemon analyst. We are back, once again, with TDD Season 5. We're in Week 5 now, baby, let's get right to it.
That was gross.
I'm sorry, man, sometimes you just
Also,
gotta...
Also, this is week 4.
Oh, Week 4, never mind, we're in Week 5 now.
We're in week 5, but this is the recordings from week 4.
Ah, yes, indeed. Okay, well, starting off here, we have Petricores. Once again, I think Petricores is 100% show up rate in these videos at this point.
I mean, when you improve consistently, that's what happens.
Yeah, I think they're just really good matches to show off from quick because there's like it's a very new player, so there's like a lot of simple lessons to learn, but like the matches are still very interesting because they're not.
It's very cool because like the lesson to take away from each of Petricores' match gets increasingly complicated as it goes on.
Yeah, and I think that's really good. And I do also believe double victory here. This is Whiskey's first time appearing in one of these videos, which is fantastic. Woo!
Yay!
Let's go. I think that makes everybody in these now. So let us go ahead and let's just start off with this match. What are we looking at here?
So what I'm looking at is that I feel like Zard is actually very scary on paper for this team.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think Rayquaza's got a base 95 speed, and the only things that are going to be faster is just Azelf. So Zard threatens everything really hard. It's definitely going to Oko Rayquaza, it's going to Oko Rotom. If it has a ground move, it Okos Heatran.
And
I would definitely... Yeah, and Drapion. And if I were Whiskey, I probably would have put a lot of prep into Charizard.
Mm-hmm.
We have a meetup of Rotoms here.
Yes.
Which happens from time to time.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Mime's like always a good bring. He's just a menace.
Mm-hmm. Palisand, I'm surprised to see 4 for 4 from Petricores.
It is interesting to see Palisand so much, but I get it in this game, especially if Zard doesn't have a ground move.
Yeah. Yeah, having something nice for the Heatran is always going to be important there.
I also feel like Petricores has come to like Obstagoon a lot.
Yes, yeah, I feel like Obstagoon has become...
Which I'm kind of with. It seems like a fun Pokemon to use.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I mean, a little bit of spoilers for the beginning of the match, but, you know, I think it's not too difficult to use. It's like, you throw up that Obstruct, you get your Guts boost, and you just start throwing off Endeavors, or not Endeavors,
Facade and knockoffs.
Facades and knockoffs, and it just works.
So, that's it for Petricores' side. Looking at Whiskey's, who we've not seen at all in these recaps. Obviously terrifying team. Got that Rayquaza, Heatran, Suicune core. That's disgusting to deal with.
Extremely
Suicune is our current, or was our current kill leader going into week 4.
It's tied with Mew.
Okay, so like Suicune is the kill leader of the season, which is surprising.
I feel like it has been in the past as well.
Yeah, I mean, it just stays on the field. It has the most opportunities to attack.
Calm mind moment.
I mean, Rotom, fantastic pivot. Azelf, fantastic lead. Drapion, hidden gem. Although, not so hidden anymore, because I feel like it gets picked every season.
Yeah.
But it's still good.
Yep. Alrighty, well, let us see how it goes.
Yeah.
So we do lead with the Ray here. And this Ray, should we mention now what its item is?
Yeah, it is. It'll come in very important later in the match, but the Rayquaza we know is Choice Scarf.
Choice Scarf, which is, you know, very good prep into that Charizard to make sure that you can take it out immediately. Get the Obstruct, get the defense nerf there. Honestly, really simple turn here from Petricores, but also a very effective one.
Yep.
We now
it's a real setup turn, and he took no loss for it other than Stealth Rocks.
Yep.
Which is definitely not nothing considering he has Charizard,
yes.
But
Charizard
overall, I
hurts.
think it's not bad for now.
Yeah, Petricores really likes this Dazzling Gleam. He likes running that a lot. I think it worked
it's a
there.
Perfectly good attacking move, yeah.
Yeah, especially with the Ray on the field. And Azelf comes back in.
So I know you pointed out to Petricores that you weren't a super fan of his Mr. Mindset this week.
Yeah.
And I do agree with you, especially after looking at the teams and seeing that it had Technician and not Filter.
Uh-huh.
So even though the mime was Focus Sash,
Yeah,
You
the sash doesn't
really-
matter anymore now that rocks are up.
Yeah. Focus Sash isn't foolproof, is the thing. You've got stealth rocks, you've got other stuff like that, and Mime has like the natural special bulk,
Yes. Yeah,
especially with filter.
Yeah, I think a Focus Sash Mime for setup totally works if you are trying to survive a physical hit, but I think with a special hit, it still makes sense to just invest.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, especially when the other option is attack, which, Fake Out is not really doing that much more, all things considered. And the Azelf explodes, which is something Azelf likes to do.
Yeah, it's Azelf is amazing for setting momentum.
Yeah.
As you can see, it set up those rocks, and once the tailwind goes up and he needs a sweeper in, well, it just blows up.
And we sort of haven't been talking about the match, but like Whiskey, really, really nice tailwind in the last room of Trick Room there.
Yeah, Whiskey has done amazing aggressive positioning in this match.
Yeah, like Bateler is ahead right now because he got that really, really nice Trick Room up, which gave him several turns of lead. But like Whiskey's down to 3, but he's now in a very good position to reverse sweep.
Yeah, especially with Heatran coming in here.
Yes, and the Mime unfortunately loses that sash there.
Yeah, he does lose the sash, gets the fake out on Ray. Unfortunately, because of the speed tiers on the field and the tailwind, Bateler has no way of knowing that Rayquaza's scarfed yet.
Yep. And in comes the Zard.
In we see the Stealth Rock's really putting in work, the power of Azelf.
Yes, and he goes for the Protect here, which makes a lot of sense.
At this point, if Zard was max speed, which in my opinion it should have been, you would have supposedly killed the Rayquaza here.
Yes. And unfortunately, that Flash Cannon just murders mine before it can get up another TR, which is really, really unfortunate.
Yeah,
Special
and I
bulk
really
would've
think it would have lived with
Special Bulk.
like max HP and filter. Yeah, just max HP and filter.
Yep.
It would have lived.
Yeah, unfortunate there. But unfortunately, because of that, no TR, and these two are just, they're gonna take Palisand out, no problem. And Whiskey is going to win the match with really nice reverse sweep from him in these last few turns. Really played the end game well. I think just
he really waited out that Trick Room and used the last turn of Trick Room to set up his end game, and it was really, really well done.
Yeah. So definitely big props to Whiskey there. I think, like as we mentioned, the Mime set I think it was a solid idea, but I think there were just some aspects of it that just didn't work in terms of where the stat spread was, which is perfectly fine. It's understandable that one might think, hey, I have a sash, there's no reason for me to invest in bulk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like min-maxing. It's like figuring out where the stats are best put,
Yeah. Plus, I feel that Trick Room can be a bit tricky to think about sometimes. Hence the name.
That's the other thing I was going to say, is just because you're running Trick Room doesn't mean you don't want fast Pokemon.
Yeah. I guess the closest thing that I can compare it to is that in Season 2, I ran Trick Room multiple times with Deoxys Attack, which is one of the fastest Pokemon in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as you mentioned, it wouldn't have made a difference here because the Ray was scarfed, but that's more so on Whiskey just having really, really good prep into the Zard.
Yeah, very, very good prep.
Yeah.
Like, Whiskey definitely thought ahead with the Scarf Ray.
Yes.
And I think it was a great bring.
Yeah, but yeah, just from Bertiller, it's like, the Zard is already so naturally fast that not investing in speed is not going to help it in Trick Room, because it's still usually going to attack last in Trick Room. Or like close to the end, because its natural speed is so high that not investing in it just means it's not very good outside of Trick Room and it's not very good inside Trick Room. It's sort of middling in both ways, and usually with Pokemon you want to just invest in the thing it's already good in rather than try and make it like jack of all trades.
Yep.
So all right, well that was a really good match. It's really impressive seeing how much Bateler grows every single week, and really good showing from Whiskey here. Yeah. Not to say that Whiskey's other showings have not been really, really good. I mean, I think he's on the top half.
He's been going off this season.
He's definitely been going off. Someone to look out for. Just none of the matches have made it in yet. But that is actually going to be our only quick ball match of the week. Now we're getting into timer, talking about Lasden versus Diggory.
Yeah, so this match on paper, I'm sure Diggory had a nightmare prepping for this match.
Who wouldn't?
I mean, especially when your main sweeper is Mega Swampert and is simply invalidated by that monkey.
Mm-hmm. No Coco, notably.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't good here.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
Yep.
A lot of Diggory's strong picks were not good into this match, and it was tough to prep for. I mean, you can see he's got 3 C tiers.
Yes. We do have the Moltres, though.
Yeah, the Moltres.
Moltres big into Rillaboom.
I mean, yeah, you see Rillaboom, you gotta bring Moltres.
I'm not against it, but I am somewhat surprised to see Diggory running Rain into the Azumarill.
Yeah, I definitely feel that, but if he's got the right pivots, he can work around it for sure.
Mm-hmm. And we also have the matchup of the Galarian Bro and King here.
Yeah,
that's always
I
fun.
I don't know if that was Gentleman too. Probably wasn't.
No. I like Ludicolo here. How do we feel about Magnezone and Murkrow? Because those are the other 2 picks that are not obvious here.
I think Magnezone makes plenty of sense, personally.
Yeah.
Just because it nukes Pelipper. Pelipper isn't particularly strong, but it usually doesn't get one shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Pelipper, while not being an always bring from Diggory, when it does come, it's usually pivotal.
Yeah.
So I do agree with Magnezone. Murkrow is interesting because speed control against Diggory is so weird because of the rain and the tailwind that he has.
Mm-hmm.
That bringing Murkrow, I feel like its purpose is not to tailwind in this instance.
Okay. All right. Shall we get into it?
Sure.
Yes.
It also does shut down Swampert if Rillaboom happens to die early with Feather Dance or something.
True. Draco Miss Club.
Yep.
So leading off here with a fake out.
Yep, here comes surprising lack of priority moves, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no fake out from Incin.
Yeah.
Incin is, knocking. Okay, alright, gets a crit there.
Yeah, I mean, he went straight for the kill on that Dragapult.
Yes, which makes total sense. And now switching in, we got the Grassy Surge up. And this Azu is interesting. Okay, so good prep of the Weather Ball there, trying to take out Incin with Weather Balls. You obviously
I do like the Weather Balls. It's a base 100 power move. It's just a good move.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now.
In comes Moltres.
Big Moltres come in. You always got to switch Moltres in when that dumb monkey is on the field. Especially when you're switching it in, fishing for burns. You got to take what you can get.
Yeah. Galarbro is very good in here right now.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing really threatens it. And if it does, it'll regen it all.
Okay. And now we see the Murkrow coming out here. So I guess the Murkrow is in some way the answer to Slowbro, potentially? Although I'm
that was just a great 50-50 by Diggory, hitting the Murkrow.
Yep.
Which I kind of get. I think the Rillaboom is the bigger threat out of the 2, but Azumarill is not to be slept on.
especially with this rain up for another 4 turns.
Yeah, I mean that's a 4 times resist, and it's a 4-hit KO. So in comes Mr. Bannable again.
More faking out.
Yep, as Ludicolo goes for the fake out, predicting, I'm assuming, the fake out from Incineroar, which makes sense.
But it's slower because this one's Rain Dish, not Swift Swim, I think.
It depends on his investment.
Oh, perhaps, but I'm pretty sure it was Rain Dish. Anyways, maybe I'm wrong.
So in comes another potential fake outer, and I'm assuming that's why he protects Azumarill. Gets a nice little fake out onto the, not fake out, knock off onto the Galarian King, which is kind of big because now if he wants any healing, he has to switch. And it will force you to make a bad switch like that.
Yes. Unfortunate, especially with Rillaboom still in the ranks, having Moltres go out. Not good.
It was not easy to pick a sack there.
Yeah.
Especially since you don't know necessarily what Azumarill's going for.
Mm-hmm.
And sacking Moltres, I understand to the point where, like, Rillaboom was low.
Sure.
And, like, Grassy Glide's not going to do much to a Dragapult. Dragapult threatens it with U-turn, which is how it's playing out exactly.
And now the rain's back up.
Yeah, Pelipper takes very, very little from that.
And now
so this game gets, like, pretty close. That's like the main thing that I'm thinking about with this match, is that it was just close the whole time. It was very tense. It was like no side particularly had all the momentum at one point. Is how I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Slowbro is... I think Slowbro is nice here because it basically threatens the Grimmsnarl from switching in on either of these slots in a very big way.
Maybe it was Gentleman because they named it the same thing.
What happened was Diggory had not made nicknames yet, and Lasden said, hey, if you bring Slowbro, please name it Spider-Man Pointing, because if I bring Slow King, it will be named that.
Okay. Alright, so we saw the Iron Defense from Galarian King, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little risky at this point since you've lost your Black Sludge.
Yes.
But he does reveal Slack Off now.
With a really good Slack Off play there into the Double Protect.
Yeah.
Yes, and the Double Protect there, what is it? He's not trying to run out the rain, is he? He doesn't really care about the rain, does he?
Not particularly anymore, no.
Yeah. And using Flamethrower in the rain, unfortunately, not going to do very much.
Yep, but this is the last turn of rain since the Damp Rock got knocked off.
Do just want to say, though, fantastic Kibia Berry Bring there.
Yeah.
That's one of those resist berries you almost never see, I feel like.
Yeah, but I mean it works.
It works very nice when you have a Galarian Slowbro on the enemy team, and now the Flamethrower is going to be doing a lot more.
So there's that prep for rain with Magnezone Thunder, but the rain's gone, so it just misses.
Yeah. Quick Draw.
Yeah. The Slowbro does have Quick Draw and Quick Claw, which is like a multiplicative chance. It's like 36% or something to move first.
Mm-hmm.
So not super unlikely.
Fishing for the freeze there, baby.
Yeah, it's interesting at this point that Diggory put himself in a position to get a lot of things like burns, like poisons, and none of them happened.
Yeah. Got pretty unlucky on that. But Fun Police is now out of range of a Thunderbolt. I don't know how I feel about Dragon Darts there.
I don't know what else he had.
I feel like U-turn. I just feel like U-turn would have been good again. U-turn into the Grimmsnarl and have the Grimmsnarl get knocked off instead.
Then you get another fake out.
Yeah. Anyways, unfortunately...
Which he does not go for.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Galar does not get through and just barely lives that, ending the match. I think Diggory had a chance to win there. Unfortunately, with what was left, the Galar Slowking just wasn't able to deal with the Magnezone.
Even though it didn't pan out, Diggory's game plan was really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, put yourself in a position to get those burns, get those poisons. It did not work. And that's not his fault. But that's kind of the way he had to play this match, especially, like, losing Moltres early. Like, it made a lot of sense the way he played it.
Uh-huh.
It's just unfortunate that it didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how that would have panned out if we saw a U-turn at the end again there. Because, I mean, Lasden showed on several occasions that if he saw that Dragapult on the field, he was just going to smack it as hard as possible. And I wonder, I don't remember how much Grimmsnarl had at that point, but I feel like it maybe
had around 40.
Huh?
It had around 40.
40.
So,
yeah.
And at 4 times there's a knock off. And it has no item.
Yeah, probably would have lived that. And then you get that fake out there, which would have been really nice. Anyways, I mean, good match. Diggory has been having trouble this season, but I think, like, given what he was up against, I mean, Lasdun's big 3, I feel like he did it pretty well.
I don't think he's playing poorly in any sense.
No, I don't think he's playing bad. I just think it's the team hasn't clicked, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think it clicked more this week than it has in the past, though.
Yes, definitely.
All right, and then moving on into the next round, we've got me versus Peanut Scratch.
Give me what you got.
Oh, man. Okay, so I admittedly prepped very poorly into this team. A lot of this was my fault. I sort of didn't really consider the actual things that Peanut's Pokemon do. So a lot of the things, one of the things that I was tired and I sort of made this error, and I know some other people make this error, so I just want to warn against it. When you're prepping against the enemy team, make sure you don't just devolve down to the enemy team has these types, these are the attacking type moves I want to use. Make sure you actually think about what these Pokemon can do. Because I look at Landorus and I'm thinking, okay, I want to run an ice move, so I bring some ice moves. What I forget is that this is a very easily pivoted out Intimidate user, and I'm out here with like a bunch of physical attackers. So that was a huge mistake on prep on my part. Then you have something like Scizor, Mega Scizor, where it's like, okay, this thing is very physically bulky, you need to hit it with fire moves. I have brought, I think, one fire move on this entire team. On Salazzle, which, you know, does not always live until the end game. So I'm in a really, really weird position here where I lose the end game very, very quickly if I don't play, like, super, super well early and get the right kills early. Like, if something like Scizor stays alive until end game, I'm just screwed.
Yeah, I know we haven't started the match yet, but it's a big, important thing to know that super effective is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to understand what your opponent's Pokemon can do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
Like Landorus with those pivots, with those intimidates, Scizor with the fact that it just is priority constantly. Walrein with the fact that, you know, honestly, Walrein kind of a threat here. It threatens a lot of my Pokemon.
Yeah. I mean, I flamed him for bringing it, but...
I mean...
it's not that bad here.
I saw it on Team Preview, and I was not surprised in the slightest. I figured it was going to come. I figured he picked this thing literally to fight me. But the thing is, I was still scared of it. I still saw it on the field. I'm like, I need to take care of this thing because I have so few switch-ins to it.
Yeah.
Alright, and then what else from Peanuts I had? So, like, the Porygon, I was actually expecting Umbreon to come here. It's funny, we were both expecting the other person to bring Trick Room. Which is funny. I was thinking, okay, he's got the Porygon, he's got the Umbreon, I have a lot of fast Pokemon, he's gonna bring Trick Room. And meanwhile, he was thinking that I was
He's got Metal, he's bringing Trick Room.
Yes. No, I mean, I honestly, and I don't know if I'm giving away my cards here, I don't think my team is a Trick Room team. I just think it has a, like...
Trick Room mode.
A not terrible Trick Room mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's play into it. I've run it in the past because there's been some teams that I just can't beat with normal thing. My speed control this match sucked. I didn't have TR, I didn't have Tailwind. I thought about bringing Tailwind, but I didn't. So this is actually the lead I was expecting, and as we come into turn 1 here, I'm thinking, okay, I can one-shot that Landorus, and then it uses Intimidate, and I'm like, wait, this fucking Pokemon gets Intimidate shit.
Yeah.
And my whole life is over. Yeah, so I know I need to get rid of that Scizor as soon as possible.
And you know also that it's not staying in here.
Yes. Yeah.
Out comes Landorus again. Just turn 2 and we're already making, like, we're making moves.
I'm at 0.5 and burned. I'm still doing an immense amount because Melmetal is so strong.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous amount of damage for being -2 and burned.
But now my Melmetal's in such a bad spot. Like, even without the -2, being burned hurts it so much.
But good switching to Moltres.
Yeah. And Alomomola getting a kill.
Alomomola picks up a kill with its giant hands.
Just bitch slap that dead horse. And here we have Walrein. And Walrein, I know this is an issue for me. Melmetal being my best my best
Best
ice
switching.
resist here. It is AV.
Yep.
I'm gonna knock off that Eviolite. I want to get rid of that. And
Yep.
at this
Makes a lot of sense, but you can imagine that Landorus is probably coming in here.
yes, yeah. But I also know that I need a Lomomola for later, so I am gonna get that regen off.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, he puts up the Reflect.
Man. He prepped a lot for physical.
Yeah, which, good on him. Bad on me for bringing so much physical.
Yep. Alomomola getting its good recovery there. Very important stealth
Those
rocks.
stealth rocks hurt me so much.
All Out Pummeling is lived because of the Reflect.
Yes. And then I get frozen. Doesn't really matter, but it's just... It's salt in the wound at this point.
You know, like, come on, man. Stop that.
I had Protect on this. I thought about trying to break through the freeze with a Protect, with a priority,
Yeah.
but didn't go for it. I needed better speed control than I had.
Yeah. That's how I've been feeling a lot of games.
Yeah. And switching in
But,
into the T-Bolt there.
Good old Zygarde is gonna do what it do.
Yes. And losing my Sash on Salazzle there. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate, but Zygarde is gonna take out the annoying duck that everybody wants banned.
Yes. And people in chat were like, "Oh my god, I actually didn't think that was gonna kill the Porygon," and I was like, "Dude, that did minimum 25%. There's no way it lived."
Alomomola is actually basically regen to full now.
Yes.
Revealing the Thunder Wave on good old Salazzle there,
Yes.
which is an interesting prep, but I think it works here.
I take the L on Salazzle, which is really bad. Because Scizor is still there, but I needed some way to confirm that I would be able to kill this thing. Like,
yeah,
because
I think the thing you had to do there was sack Moltres.
Yeah. I want to do stuff with Moltres, but
Yeah, no, I know how you feel, but the play there was to sack Moltres.
yes, it absolutely was. And these rocks really hurting me with how much I need to be switching here.
Yeah, Peanut's prep work was fantastic this game.
Yeah.
Just straight up.
And he's going for the Tailwind. I mean, not that I can outspeed anyways, but just very, very annoying for me.
Yep.
Zygarde
And
just, yeah.
you're going to get a little more recovery on that Aloe, which is nice.
In the superpower, I'm bulky as hell, bro. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, he no longer
Good old
has-
Melmetal.
He knocking off my choice band there. So now I actually am... That's really not good for me, because I really only want to be using 1,000 arrows anyways, or superpower
Yeah.
anyways. But, now I have Protect available to me, because I have Protect on this set.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting kind of prep, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what if I get... I mean, Zygarde in particular has no need for a fourth move slot on a bandit set.
Rocky Helmet has actually come in so much clutch on my Alomomola sets. It's really funny how many people try and punch this fish.
Yeah.
Moltres really, unfortunately, just taking so much there.
Yeah, I think Moltres at this point in the match needed to come in on a double down.
Yeah.
And then protect, and then stall out the Tailwind, and not die to a bullet punch because it came in on a down.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it has Protect here, and this was the reason I wasn't running Weakness Policy here was because it was a Nasty Plot set, but at this point, like, the rocks and the rock slide got it so low that it will just die to a bullet punch no matter what.
Yeah, it definitely needed to come in just fresh.
And yeah, so now we're on to this Alomomola is only ever healing off of wishes. These stealth rocks really, really hurt. What I needed to do here is I mean I know that he's gonna go for the bullet punches here, and I needed to kill the Lando. I should have known that I couldn't win at this point, and I just needed to well, it didn't matter there because I freaking flinch.
I disagree that you couldn't have won, but I think if you killed the Lando this turn, it was possible.
Yeah.
Because Scizor does not do much to Aloe,
Mm-hmm.
especially just not with Bullet Punch. I don't know if he had Sword Stance on Scizor. He might have. How many moves did it reveal?
All 4. Protect,
No,
Tail, and
okay.
knock off Bullet Punch.
Okay, so he would have been probably knocking off,
Uh-huh.
and you didn't have an item.
Yes.
Did Aloe have Protect?
No.
Okay, then maybe you would have won anyway.
Yeah, knock off Heal Pulse, Wish, and Scald.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, either way, I needed that differential point on Landorus. I was thinking, like, hey, if I can, heal here, I can potentially win this, but I needed to just get that -1 instead of that -2. Honestly, good play from Peanut there. I mean, really.
Yeah, he played the match well.
He played the match well, keeping that Scizor alive until after Salazzle is down. I mean, I made an important play with the Wall Rain there, but really needed to reserve that longer. And so much of this match was won in prep, I think.
Yeah,
I think.
But really, Peanut has drastically overperformed compared to his average this season, and it's great to see.
It's
I love
great
it.
to see it. It's scary. But I mean, with how much prep he did against physical attackers and with my physical attackers, and my special attackers just really not performing well at all. I mean, Moltres just being a complete flop, and Salazzle, just me wasting Salazzle there. I think that he completely outplayed me, and I needed to prep differently, and I needed to play differently.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, and into the final match of this week, we have you versus Post.
Yeah, this is my time where I'm determined to not make Regieleki the flop.
Let's go.
So, from my side, I look at his team, and I'm like throwing my hands in the air, going, "No Crocodile, no Togekiss."
Those two are real pains in the asses.
They weren't like particularly like bad for me to deal with, but I was ecstatic to not see them.
I'm really surprised to see Mega Blastoise. I mean, I guess I'm not that surprised. It is a very good Pokemon, but I am surprised to see it into both Regieleki and Kyurem Black. I feel like they both deal with it extremely well.
I think one of the main things for Blastoise is that on paper his team is really bad into Nidoqueen.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense to have that bulky water. It does resist a lot of what my team can do, and it can potentially sweep. So I do understand the Mega Blastoise bring.
Tell me about this Dusclops, because this is the first Dusclops we've seen.
So I was definitely expecting either Dusclops or Togekiss, probably not both. And I was expecting a Dusclops lead, probably, because, well, you set Trick Room early, and that's how it works.
And then, yeah, all of your high-tier Pokemon are officially going last.
Yeah, which is why I have my Banette lead, which is meant to beat both Tailwind and Trick Room.
Yes.
Because he will frisk the item, find out if there's a mental herb. If there's a mental herb, he will use Snatch. If there's not a mental herb, he will taunt.
That's hilarious. That's so funny.
Yeah, Banette is a good anti-lead.
But yeah, as you said, Nidoqueen is really, really good here. How do we feel about the Necrozma?
Necrozma's always a wild card, man.
Yeah.
You never know what it's gonna do. I saw it and I was like, I'm worried because I don't know what it's gonna do.
Just based on
Caparaja has become old reliable this season.
Yeah.
I think Post has found that it's a great Pokemon.
It really is so good and reliable as a C tier. High recommendation from me, and I think at this point we can see that Post would agree.
Yeah.
That this is just.
I mean, it's come to like almost every match, or literally every match.
It's come to literally every match. I mean, I think, and this isn't so much about this match as just general drafting advice. You always want to have a steel type on your team, and if you don't have places in the high tiers, it gets really, really difficult to find a good C tier steel type, because most C tier steel types are kind of trash. Caparaja is not. Caparaja is so nice. So
and Durant, but it's like functionally not a steel type. You know?
Right? Yeah. Durant. I mean, I feel like a lot of the steel types you're drafting for the resists, for the bulk, and Durant is not that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's play it out. I hope, not for my sake or for anybody else's sake, but I hope Caparaja does become a more a contested C tier in the future, because I really think it deserves it.
Yeah, so this is a fantastic lead for me because I learned that Cinderace is scarfed.
Yes, which is huge for you.
It's a huge piece of information on turn 1, and I basically set this up so that I taunt the Blastoise in case he's shell smashing. I don't want that.
Yeah, that would be very bad for you. It is surprising to see how bulky that thing is.
Banette.
Yeah. Honestly.
And since Cinderace switched out, I'm like, this is perfect. I'm going to disable the Water Pulse. Get a big hit off on Caparaja.
It's huge.
Yeah, and Bennett's just living. He's out here. And then good old Dusclops comes in, and I'm gonna Shadow Sneak it because I wanted to take out the Raj.
Your Bayonet, it's impossible for it to not move first, huh?
Yes, correct.
Because it has Prankster and only priority.
And I set up T-Spikes there.
Which is huge.
Yeah, I really needed that for the Zama.
Yes.
And
so what was the thought process here with Greninja?
I wanted to sack it.
Okay. Well, you succeeded.
I wanted to sack it to get in Aleki.
Makes sense. Well, I think Caparaja is, at this point, you're in a really good position, because, I mean, it dies no matter what, and that is a huge threat to you away, because that...
And Blastoise has really become, like, a benefit to me, just having this Water Pulse disabled.
Mm-hmm.
It's the weirdest kind of dead slot, and luckily, based off of turn 1, I know this Cinder is scarfed and outspeeds my Aleki. So it's the perfect opportunity to go to Blastoise,
take a Water Pulse,
eat that Water Pulse without any issue.
Yeah.
And now I can fake out the Cinderace, which threatens it, causes post to switch.
Yeah, at this point, Zamazenta is dead. That thing is dead that had Aura Sphere. There are very few Pokemon left that threaten your S tier here, your Kyurem.
Yeah, and at this point, I know that Cinder does not have any spread moves. So follow me. Goated.
What do we see a Focus Sash on there? The Dusclops? Or no, we saw it on your Aleki. Okay.
Yeah, he frisked Aleki.
He frisked Aleki. Oh, these poisons, bro, they're goated.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And I switch Aleki out here because I want it later for Cinder.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And this damage surprised me. It just died.
Big meteor beam moment.
Yeah, it does a good old poltergeist on the Nidoqueen. This game, I mean, I know we have a lot of these, but this was a huge information game.
Mm-hmm.
And I had like a very, very strict advantage in that sense on turn 1.
Bayonet MVP, let's go.
Yeah, Bennett really actually killed it this match.
Yeah, because at this point, both of these Pokemon, which have so many different sets that they can run, have both revealed their sets.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, Kyurem has still not come out at all.
Yep. And here,
tell us about this turn.
So I switched Aleki into Kyurem, is what I clicked, and this is very important. Because it's a decision that everyone should have to think about. If I switch Aleki into Kyurem doesn't die, I get an extra differential point.
Yes, preserving a differential there,
Canceled
which is very
that
good.
move. I canceled that move. Because on the off chance that he swaps targets to Nidoqueen, I just lose the whole game.
Yeah, so it's always, you always need to weigh that. Is the risk of potentially losing the game if the opponent doesn't do what you're planning, is that worth the differential point? The answer is no.
Yep.
So I think I was surprised to not see that switch there, but then when you explained it to me after, it made total sense. Because yeah, if Kyurem came in there and was not the target of the attacks and Nidoqueen went down, you had a very, very tough, maybe even impossible 2v2 to finish that off with.
Yeah.
So Kyurem, I think was a huge threat this game, despite the fact that it never came out, because there were many opportunities where it could come out and kind of take over because of how well you disposed of Post's biggest answers to it.
Yeah, especially like threatening the Trick Room the whole game, getting that poison down to chip away the Dusclops so it can never come in for free.
Mm-hmm.
I think the T-Spikes was like amazing.
The T-Spikes was pivotal, yeah. I think Nidoqueen literally was the MVP of this match with like 3 kills, but even if it wasn't, I think Nidoqueen and Bayonet really, really won this match. And I think really good plays around the Alecki, because once you see that Choice Scarf, just knowing that it is not the fastest thing on the field, and just pivoting around that, really good sack of the Greninja, just solid play. From Post side, I mean, I think he was just in a tough spot.
Yeah, I think giving me the information of the Choice Scarf turn 1, which he had no idea he was going to give me, obviously.
Yeah.
Was really bad for him.
Yeah. I think especially like after that disable, he knows, you both know that Nidoqueen is so scary, and knowing how fast that Cinderace is and everything, really once that was all revealed, the last sort of ace up his sleeve was the Meteor Beam on the Necrozma, which did put in work. It did take out that Blastoise, which is something you weren't expecting, but at that point it was not enough of a priority target for him to be able to come back from that.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, well that is another week. Thank you all so much for joining. Just about the other matches that we can mention, I don't think OJ and Skirmy we need to say much about that other than what was said. PLKJ and Math, I think a good point that we both were considering is that running Taunt into Math Geek is very, very good because he runs very, very few damaging moves.
I mean, you can't do it like abrasively, throw caution to the air and run Taunt, because then you'll get Kartana'd.
Yes,
but it's definitely good to have.
Yeah, I think this week, while we didn't show it off, Math did not bring either Kartana or Buzzwole, which made him especially weak to Taunt, because neither of his like huge threats were there, and I think PLKJ took great advantage of that, basically shutting down Smeargle, shutting down Toxapex. So solid move there. Who else did we have in quick? We had Eggpling and Cause. I think similar there to most weeks. It's hard to give advice there. I think Cause, I really recommend that you reach out more about teams. All of the Timer Ballers would be happy to help you with your team building. I think it's definitely improved. I think your team building is definitely improved, and it is shown by the fact that you actually have started getting kills since week 1, which is nice. But I think there's definitely a lot more progress that could be made there very quickly if you just sort of reached out and accepted some more help. I think you could definitely still get some wins this season. And then what else did we have in Timer?
Steven & Co., which was a weather war.
The weather war. The Hippopotas. That Hippopotas got 2 kills.
Yeah, it did.
One off a move and one off a sandstorm kill.
Yeah,
so silly.
Hippopotas is going off.
Alrighty, well thank you all so much for watching. We will be back next week with week 5. Click here in the middle to subscribe, over on the left for a different video, and over on the right for next week if it is out. I've been Techno Void, this has been Hamster Wings, and we'll see you then. Bye!
Goodbye.